Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Bison basketball. My name is Chip Washington, your self-professed Bison basketball fanatic.
Hey, what's up, family? Welcome back to another episode. This is Brian B. Smooth Foston. Continue to be a lover of basketball, a lover of Howard. You know how we do. We talk about the players, we talk about the matchups, and we try to get a little spicy with over and under reactions. Looking forward to it. What's up, E?
Hey, how's everybody? Sorry I missed it out last time there. This is E-Wash, still a lover of all things basketball. Got a serious basketball Jones as usual, and I'm ready to get into it today.
Yeah, see, I love that because we missed you last week. You were trying to save yourself from all the snow. I believe that's what we were doing last time. At least that's the word that was passed our way. We don't know, witness protection works differently, so we're not supposed to know exactly what route you take home and all that. But it's good to see you, brother. You're looking good. You're looking good. I love that Howard gear, bro. Yeah. We may want to tell folks that you did mean to wear the Morehouse hat on your head, even though this is the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast.
Yes.
We probably should let them know that we're still forming our business corporation, so we're gonna have to figure out what kind of bylaws are gonna have to go in place so you don't do that anymore.
Well, also let them know that I sort of regularly succumb to the peer pressure from both of you guys, But in this case, it wouldn't be right, especially on MLK weekend.
Yeah,
do not represent my other alma mater. So
I see, Chip. It's always somebody from Morehouse that pulls Martin Luther King out, right? I'm just saying.
well, see.
I'm just saying, bro.
This is dangerous territory now. If America had done right and went on ahead, then y'all could play the Kamala card,
it's too soon. Ouch. Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. Touché. We don't have a Kamala Harris Day yet, but I'm still voting for a Samuel L. Jackson Day. That'll be the first time I rock anything Morehouse. If it don't get a Samuel L. Jackson Day, I don't want to hear about it. So that's cool. But hey, man, we're looking forward to getting into the show. But before we do, Chip, why do we do this, man? Why are we here today, man?
Hey, always want to let everybody know we're here to support the Bison basketball teams. And you can do that in so many ways. We got our own, Howard has its own name, image, and likeness collective, the Mecca Society. You can donate to the Mecca Society. Go to themeccasociety.org. You can donate to the athletic department through hubison.com. So continue to support this championship culture, this dream factory, and just, make it happen. And always always let everybody know about this podcast. Share the podcast, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. You can hear us on YouTube, on Apple, and Spotify. And don't forget to interact on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So please spread the word. We're trying to blow up this program and just keep the worldwide fan base engaged. And everybody go to the games when they're in your city. You're in for a treat watching these teams play. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. Let's get it.
MLK, as you said, MLK is the big joker. It's the big joker. We talking about spades. We do it for the culture. MLK is the big joker, right?
It's
better to serve than to be served.
I'm being respectful. I'm being respectful.
It's all about service, baby.
I'm being respectful right now. You tested me, bro. I'm just saying. big jokers and Morehouse go together. I get it. I get it.
I'm gonna do like MLK and turn the other cheek.
Well, you got a few more to go. You got a few more to go with that hat on. So Chip, man, excited to do this, but I want you to, I think there's a couple of shout outs that we want to give.
Yes.
Those of us who have been getting this show together, we've been growing every episode. We look a little different. We look a little brighter, sound a little clearer. So you got any shout outs, man? I got a couple too,
Definitely.
and then we'll get going.
Definitely want to give a shout out to our fellow engineering buddy Carlisle Seeley. He helped us with the audio production, and we also want to give a shout out to another fan of the show, Portia Bruner from the Portia Show. She's on Portia. You can catch her show at Fox Soul, and she's at Portia Fox, I believe, on Instagram. So she gave us some ideas on lighting and setup and things like that. So I wanted to give us, since she's a fan of the show, wanted to give her a shout out.
Howard alum. She's a Howard alum.
She is a Howard alum.
She is. Friend of the show. Friend of the show. I mean, that's awesome, Chip. And I think that speaks to the fact that, our love for Howard is definitely expansive across our vast alumni network. And so seeing our alums pitch in and say, hey, here's how we can keep making this thing the best possible. As far as I know, we're still one of the few podcasts that features, talking about our basketball programs for an HBCU. So we're still in a very small minority when it comes to making this kind of lane to have fan interaction, and the fans are actually helping us be better. So that's so dope. I will say shout out to those who've been part of our Bison Nation. We have a few of our folks that Chip mentioned in terms of Mecca Society and other places where, in addition to supporting the school, they've been becoming followers of the show. We just hit a cool little milestone. We got a little budding Instagram presence, so we just got over 100 followers this week. So only started like a month or so ago. So we're making it happen. We're making it happen. And I will say, as a tease towards the end, Chip, we're going to talk a little bit about what we want people to do when it comes to sharing their over and under reactions. Because remember, we're going to talk a little bit like we normally do. We're going to get into this recaps in a minute. When we started our last episode, that was the beginning of conference season. So we're going to follow that pattern because the men and women tend to play on the same days. So we get a chance to get a double dose most days. We get a bonus game to talk about this time. Bowie State came to town. Small yet mighty school that decided to kind of take it to us a little bit. So I'm looking forward to some interesting analysis from the Washington brothers on the call here. But at the same time, we'll also get into over and under reactions, and we'll hear a little bit about what's good for basketball and try to close it out like we normally do. So sit back, relax, and as we always like to do before we jump into the segment, let's dance a little bit. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. We have Ewash. We got the man with the plan, Chip Washington, and I'm hanging out with everybody trying to just stay cool. Be Smooth is on the microphone, and we're at the point in the show where we just kind of do a quick recap, man. We are into kind of week 2 of our conference season in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. I'm happy to report that based on my counting, we got a lot of numbers in the W column. And so far, we ain't got nothing to add to the L column just yet. Is that right, fellas? We're doing pretty well to get started, right?
Stupendous.
Hey, that's the way to do it. So
listen, we're going to run through them in a little bit of chronological order. So when we were last talking to you, we were just on the verge of tipping off with Morgan State. Morgan State came to the Burr. It was still kind of, set the picture. We were back in the Burr where the students weren't back to school just yet. So we were making some appeals to get fans from all over the city to start coming in and hanging out. And we saw some crowds, but not nearly the same as when the band is back and the cheerleaders are back and the whole vibe. So the band music we play to get going is just because we know that that's what kind of sets us apart. It gets us pretty excited. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the ladies first because we had a couple of games with them, and then we'll switch to the guys because they had one more game than the ladies. So let's get into it. Morgan State came to town. I think they wanted to see if we were as tough as the preseason polls said we were. They left with a different impression. What do you guys think? Any opening thoughts around the Morgan State visit to the Burr?
Well, you go, Chip. You go first.
Oh,
Okay.
After you, look at
So-
he runs over you in one episode and then he lets you go in front of him. I don't know. I'm watching him.
Oh, it's a setup. It's a setup.
It's a setup.
He's gonna run over me again. The bus is always in play when Ewash is on the episode. So
He is. Back it up now. All right. So Chip, kick us off, man.
So the story for me for this game, and I'm probably gonna mention her in more than one game, but it was Now Miller. Now Miller's energy, her defense, her energy was outstanding. I was just really enthused about her contributions to the game. And I really wanted to shout her out because, she doesn't score a lot, but her impact on defense and even in the paint on offense I don't think it gets enough attention. Because you got Sanaya King, she's gonna always kind of score her double digits, in the 20s. Everybody's looking at Destiny Howe and her 3-point shooting, but the things that Now Miller does during the game are winning. It contributes to winning basketball. So her hustle, her energy, it was contagious. It was infectious. And I really wanted to, she's going to keep that up, I know, because that's her style of play. And I think it's going to pay so many dividends continuing in conference play. So I think her contributions were tremendous in this game.
I love that. And as you think about it too, I just want to remind the audience, if you didn't get a chance to check out the game, we pulled out a win. It was 75-58. So it wasn't as close even as the score indicated, because we shot well. We went inside early. One of the hosts of the show just apparently thinks that if anybody who can't shoot outside the paint shouldn't. He has a mantra around who should be shooting and who shouldn't, but it seems like they listened to him because they shot inside quite a bit and the defense picked up as well. So just want to set the tone that we started with a real strong second game for MEAC play. So what did you see, man?
Well, I'm glad that he started out, meaning Chip, with Miller, because I want to say maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago when we were kind of deep into the non-conference assessment of things, and we were talking about a little bit of an over-reliance on Destiny Howe.
Yeah.
So we kind of went through things. Well, what could they do different, and this and that, and blah blah blah. Chip mentioned Sanaya King at that time, and I believe I mentioned Miller at that time, right? And I just I like the fact that they kind of seem to win even without the emphasis on Howard. Not that you're trying to get away from a sprint, but to see them win without her dominating the ball is impressive. And I'm kind of looking for possibly another transition of, a la Reggie Miller and Allen Iverson, moving her off the ball in terms of changing the offense up a little bit, screening wise, and seeing if they can take even more advantage of King's emergence.
That's a deep point, man. You always bring us another angle to think about. I was right there with you. I think that from a top to bottom, it was definitely a team effort. It's always better to know that we don't know where the scoring is going to come from, so therefore you can't key in on folks. And again, that's exactly right. Move that ball and try to take the layup. The layup is still the best shot in the game. But I think the person that I wanted to make sure you were shouting out Now Miller and Sanaya and Destiny. I was waiting for Chip to holler about Z Payne over here, but Vanessa Blake really stepped in a way that I was really excited to see the energy she brought. And so I don't know about you, but the depth of our team really started to emerge where it seemed like anybody we brought off the bench could get in and make it happen. So, like I said, a strong team performance. The bench showed up. Shooting was good, a higher percentage than maybe we saw in the preseason the non-conference schedule. But yeah, quality win from beginning to end. Right.
Would you say? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Would you say that Blake's breakout was the St. Joe's game?
So I don't know if I would say it was her breakout as much as I knew her name from there, but I think the way she showed up in this game, it was like, sometimes people come off the bench and they just try to get in where they fit in. She was the energy. Like you could see that she was literally propelling us in sections of the game. We have this recipe where if we start out really hot, we'll find some place where we start to have a lull and everything starts to tighten up, and then we hope to pull it out at the end. That's kind of the nature of college basketball. But in those lower points, the energy wise, she was sustaining us. So I would say that she became an indelible impression and made an imprint on me when I said, wow, we have somebody who can come in and bring us energy right when we need it. So that's what I got from Vanessa in the Morgan State game.
Okay.
Oh, and shout out to Tiana Walker, because she had been having a rough shooting outing up until this game, but she went 3 for 3 from behind the arc. And I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely welcome, because she was a good 3-point shooter last year, but we just hadn't seen it up until this game. So I know she was happy. I think I caught a little interview she did on Instagram post game.
Yeah,
so she was very thankful that her shot was dropping that night. So definitely shout out to Tiana Walker.
I love that. I know the formula was followed, since we talking about engineering and all these smart folks on the call here, when it was 4 people in double figures and almost a fifth with Tiana. She almost had so whenever we have that balanced scoring, I think we're going to always be in games. But, like I said, quality win. I know that I'm hoping that we show up that way most of the season, because, the teams that we know can give it to us, they have some balanced scoring too. So we got to show that we can do it. When the folks from Norfolk come to town, we need to see what's up.
As Bart Scott would say, can't wait.
Okay.
That's absolutely great. Any other thoughts on the Morgan State game? Any more thoughts? Yeah, pretty good, right?
Yeah. I guess we went 13 deep, even though Brian, you talked about our depth. So we played 13 players.
Wow,
that's
almost unheard of.
Yeah, my eyes were like, I mean, that's what has me so excited about the women's team.
To the coach there. That's
man, we are deep. So
shout out to Ty Grace and her whole team. They put together a squad, and we talked about how with the pieces you could put a lineup in that you think you've seen on film, and one person can change the whole mix. So I do shout out to Ty Grace, shout out to Chip here for just recognizing that we got some size that it's not until we play teams that are a little bit smaller that we realize we can do it. Now I don't know if we're ready for the South Carolina piece that you went out and made some plea on social media about. It's got a lot of people buzzing, but I do think that having a program that can be that deep means that we can start to play with the dynasty word. I think we could figure out a way to have a program that just sustains, because you're bringing in quality picks and size and skill. So very, very exciting. Super exciting.
Future is bright. Is bright.
Super. Yeah. Anything else? Because we can switch over to the next game. I know that was probably a little bit more entertaining for me when we shifted over gears and got a chance to hang out and check out Coppin State, one of our neighbors up the Beltway. That final score was 76-71, but I promise you, it was not as close as it appeared on camera. So who wants to open up this one? Because I know early on, I think I had that old Macaulay Culkin, like, oh brother, what is going on? Like we can't seem to get within 10 points. They jumped out on us really early and just stayed on us, and I couldn't make shots. We You just weren't doing. You did the opposite of what we were doing against Morgan State, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I guess to me it's the probably, you got to stay patient, right, with this team. And I think, Brian, you've made this comment before. It's so cliche, but there's no perfect game, right? And so we're gonna have highs, we're gonna have lows, with this team. And so the little bit of hair that I had, the first 3 quarters, I was kind of pulling it out because we didn't bring the energy, and the focus. I made a note as I was watching. I said, this will probably be great. This will be fertile ground for Coach Grace, because everything they did in the fourth quarter with the defense and the shooting and executing on the offense, like, we need to do that for all 4 quarters. So we were, it was fortunate that we pulled it out, because we didn't have that execution, didn't have that defensive focus all throughout the game. Got to do it, for all 4 quarters. But they tightened it up, turned it up in the fourth quarter, and that should let them know, like, hey, but you don't want to, teams like that, they get comfortable. Like, okay, we could turn it on at any time, but you don't want to fall into that trap. So just continue to bring it all 4 quarters.
Oh my God.
And
it was so for me, it was the, we're always talking about how do we really build the fans for Bison Nation, right? And I think, to Chip's point, I don't have enough hair to pull out all 3 quarters, but I definitely have a disappointed look that tends to sit on my face like a scowl, just like we're only, I'm always like, how many possessions are we down, right? So if we're down 10, we're only down about 3 possessions, 4 possessions. Like, I had to keep it in reality, and I can't tell you what clicked, but in the fourth quarter, when the possession number kept getting down to 0, and then we flipped it, it was amazing. Like, it was probably 10 minutes of some of the best basketball that I can remember watching, because we had to have every possession. And we talked about the excitement of the sport. Everybody's watching women's sports. This was one of those. I wasn't waiting for a big showdown between, some of the brand name pro players out there now, Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark or anybody like that. It was just literally good basketball, and I said, I want to see if you can overcome the deficit, because you're supposedly the better team. And that was exciting to me, because, like I said, watching every possession kind of tick down, it was like, okay, we messed around for 30 minutes. Let's turn it on. And now I love that. I love that. Chip, what were you going to say?
Now, I was going to say, 2 things that I noticed was the adjustment that Coach Grace made at halftime. She put Bohannon in for Destiny. I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. But Bohannon said, I'm here, and this is my moment, because she was definitely the difference with her shooting, her energy, her defense. It was a major turnaround, and it was a bold move by Coach Grace. And I also want to give, this is kind of my unsung hero segment. I want to give Kaya Creek some kudos, because and this would be a good, this would be a good for basketball thing, because she had 0 points, but she still made key contributions down the stretch. Like there was one play, and this is what made me kind of note it out, was once we turned up the defense, we put on the press, and she kind of ran up and trapped the ball player in the corner, right as she crossed the half court line, which is the best place, to trap somebody. And just to, in the fourth quarter, you haven't scored any points, and you're a shooter, to have that wherewithal, that gumption to still play that hard of defense and to still be focused. To me, it just spoke to her character, right? Because a lot of times you hear the narrative that people if they're not scoring, they're not really into the game, but to me, that was a big moment. Like, she caused a key turnover, and she was just focused, even without having a good shooting night. So, continue to do the things that contribute to winning basketball. And she was engaged. I mean, she had 29 minutes. So Coach trusted her clearly. And she, she was doing all of the other things that contribute to winning basketball, even though she wasn't scoring. So
yeah, that's a great shout out, man. And like I said, I think I applaud you for being able to see the contributions that don't always show up on the stat sheet, because that means that we really are taking it all in. And shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. Bohannon made them proud, because I don't know if that name was rolling off the tip of my tongue when I said, I don't know who is this, and why are we not playing Destiny when we need to come back? We were only 4 possessions down at the time, and I said, man, she came in and dropped, was a career high, right? She had 13 points and just 15 minutes of play, but that was what we needed. Everybody has a chance to bring the spark. So yeah, it was literally the most thrilling game we've had probably in a while, where we could have owned it home and just been, just one loss, put an L down, but they fought back. And I think we saw a lot about character. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they wanted to make sure they were revved up, because their next opponent is who I think is really going to be our competition for the MEAC crown. So we'll talk about that in the next segment. So, man, ladies, off to a great start. I know that we have one more game to make up because of snow or whatever, but right now, we got some solid wins, and still haven't contributed to the L column just yet. So let's ride it out. All right, so let's switch gears, man. Let's go back and we'll rewind back to the Morgan State weekend, because we got a chance for our men to enjoy playing against Morgan State. And I don't know about you, man, but when I was in school at Howard, I don't remember us scoring 100 points. I mean, back to back, just 100 points. I just don't remember it, and I may have to go back and see if I just happened to be studying that night. But 100 points, and so to open up and play and have a 100-point night with Morgan State in town was pretty electric, right? And so I'm excited that we got offense.
Yes,
we have offense, but I'm still trying to figure out the defense, because we gave up a lot of points, but we scored more than we gave up, which is that's the definition of winning.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about it a little bit. So let's get into it, guys, because we know, let's go ahead and give some shout outs, because I know Blake Harper continues to be a perennial player of the week. He's vying for not only rookie of the year, but I think he's well in contention for player of the year. So helpful with Bryce Harris still being on the men. So our preseason, player of the year has said, let me coach up the next one. So we seeing some bonding with the team there. But yeah, in addition to him, we had some other people show up, man. So talk about it. What did you all see in that Morgan State game?
So I saw, and your guy, Brian, the old man, Anwar Gill.
Oh my God.
Morgan State has some smaller guards.
They did.
And it was refreshing to see the old man put those smaller guards in the basket. He was in the post. He was in the post quite a few times. And, it was good to see the team recognize that he had some smaller dudes on him. As Stacey King would say, that he had some mouse in the house. And he was abusing. I wanted to see more of it, because I felt disrespected that they would put like a 5'7", 5'8" guy on the old man. I'm like, man. And sure enough, he had quite a few possessions where they had some little dude on him, and he was just like, okay, yeah, I'm going up for the layup. Boom. So definitely want to see the old man keep that up every time, because he's 6'4". So it's not like he's small, and he's strong. So anybody 6 feet and under, he needs to just go in the post, put him in the basket. So
back him up. Yeah, I agree, Chip. That was for me. It was good to see him do what I think he can do all the time. So still, my concern is that I know he's trying to get everybody involved, and he does have a lot of assists, but it's almost like, hey man, read the room. If you're the biggest dude, just make them have to stop you, right? You shouldn't have to wait and get all your points in the second half, but we needed all of them, because those little dudes figured out how to start scoring, right? So
yes.
Was it Akatobi, Cameron Hobbs, and those guys had like almost 50 points in the second half. They helped bring the game back close, but they were scoring on us, and I was hoping that Anwar would wear them down. I was hoping their legs would be all messed up trying to block this guy. Like I said, we did see some strong play from. We continue to see Dockery and Blake. They're solid, and I think when they play together, it's always it's good. Tell me, man, I'm fascinated by how quickly we get off to some of our scoring starts. The Burr is home, and so the nets, the rims are very friendly for us. And put up 50 points in the first half. I was like, okay, it's great, but then it feels like the rim just gets a little tighter in the second half. And then we wound up, kind of climbing through. So can anybody tell me, like, what are we seeing happening there? Because right now, I love when we get off to a good start, but I get nervous because I was like, we're falling in love with three. And when we don't make them, then all of a sudden we're like,
So say that again, Brian.
So we're falling in love with the three.
So make sure I heard it right.
You did. And it could be, again, for everybody listening at home, he's got this hat on, he's got this Morehouse on it, so he may not be able to hear as well as he thinks he can. That's okay. That's okay. Shout out to the Tigers, who we plan to smash up on in a couple of days. But that's what I'm saying. We have the ability to play, inside out and mid game. I don't think we get to it maybe as quickly, but I don't know. What do you guys see in there? Because I was excited to see that we had enough firepower to last, to 100, but I didn't like the fact that we needed 100 points to win.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we got the scoring, so that's good. Just got to keep going. Using our inside advantage, even though we're missing a lot of our big guys, and Munir Hema.
Again, I thought I heard him say inside advantage, but continue.
Yes. Well, right now we don't necessarily have the inside advantage because we're kind of small. We got Blake who can go in the post at 6'8". That's really about the best option in terms of going inside. Even though Taiwo in limited minutes. He knows the offense enough. Let me see. I don't know how many minutes he played in the Coppin game. Let me see.
I'm looking at it right now. Hold on.
He only had 4 minutes. So
four strong minutes. Four strong
minutes. So to push back on E, and we'll get into it when we get to the Bowie game. But we're missing a lot of size, so it's kind of hard to kind of enforce that size. And kind of have that strong inside out game because just a lot of our size is missing throughout the game. But
Adrian Dantley. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
This guy right here. Right. So to stay level headed here, our size is really wrapped up in what we consider to be the ultimate or the consummate role players, right? So if we run some pick and rolls and these guys roll all the way to the basket, there's some baskets to be had. It's 6'11", 6'8", that size, but these aren't necessarily our strongest ball handlers, and sometimes we get them in the action early, and if they're too far from the basket, I get nervous because now you got people who aren't used to like the pressure of people running at them, trying to make decisions with the ball a little too far from the basket. But that's just me. And, we don't have as many turnovers as we did to start the year, but when we do have them, it's usually some themes to the turnovers, right? And that usually comes from how much we're trying to work through the big men that maybe aren't always playing. So, we got the guys who started back, that size that we're missing with Dom and Bryce and all those guys. That's the difference. That's the difference.
You don't know when Dom is coming back?
No, not at this
Don't
point.
know.
Not at this point. So, like I said, the team we have is the team we have. I think that I'm not sitting there hoping to see people come back right now as much as I'm hoping when they do come back, they can gel with the chemistry that's forming because, the team that's out there on the court now, I think the smallest person is probably Dockery at 6'2" or so, but, the average size of the team is like 6'5", 6'6". That's reminding me of the Illini teams from back in the day where they just had size at every position. You didn't have the biggest, but you just had a big average, like big guard, big.
Right.
And like I said, we got a team that's formidable, and
now
we got people who can handle the rock.
I did like, I think Hema got about 11 minutes in this game, and he started out. He had a block. He was, his presence was felt in the paint. And so, I would like for him to get some more minutes, but with the 11 minutes that he had, because usually he gets about 3 or 4 minutes, which it's kind of hard to really have an impact if you're only getting 3, 4, or 5 minutes a game. But he utilized all of his 11 minutes. But, there was one possession I remember where I believe they kind of drove in the lane. They kind of saw him. Was like, nah, let me go back out and rethink this whole thing. And it's little moments like that understated. And so his big presence, if he can get some more minutes and continue to work the offense, make the right passes and all that stuff, I think his size from a defensive standpoint will really be a deterrence for people coming in the lane. So
for sure. And like I said, in conference play, we learn what people are trying to do to combat that. A lot of the guys on most of the teams we face that have some size, unless they're touted as the best player, they're just there to clog up the middle and give some fouls when you need them, because you want to save your guys, your stronger players. But again, with the defense is where we probably are feeling it the most. I think Chip, you made the point that with the limited depth as far as big men are concerned, in order to not get in as much foul trouble with the guys who we need on the court, we're running a lot more zone and a lot more kind of matchup zone to kind of save people's legs, so they're able to play all the way through. It's just, I think that's the casualty of that, is that we see this dip in productivity early in the second half of games, especially if we jump out early. We think we have a lot more buffer than we do, and so that's probably the biggest takeaway from the game for me, is that we have to figure out our defensive stops more predictably. Right now, it feels like it's coming in the nick of time, and there's not a point where we can just lock up and say, hey, for the next 5 minutes, they don't score.
Yeah.
Period. And that's to E, that's the point of, I think there's some people sitting on the bench now that if they were in the game, we could do that, because we'd have the depth to be able to say, we're going to go hard in the paint until you lose your breath, and then we're going to bring some people in to score. Like, we can shut it down and balance that. So, learned a lot from both sides of the ball. It was very even scoring. And like I said, we're leaving a lot of people wide open. A lot of threes were made in the second half that I just don't think Coach KB and team want to see that level of firepower. That's kind of the story of the last couple of losses we had before the season started, where we just left people wide open. They were just shooting layups from 3-point line. Right?
Yeah. And that has been kind of a disturbing trend. Like, people come in and kind of have career nights or career games against us, and we definitely gotta shut that down some kind of way. So,
well, yeah, this is good. So we did pull it out, though. We're talking as though we may have lost that game. We played well. The score was 100-95, the second 100-point game that we've had back to back. So we're doing some historic stuff this year in terms of scoring. And then, our other neighbors from Baltimore came down and said, let's see what we can do and have some fun with us on that Monday, Coppin State. So that game was good. It was a good game, good effort. I'm only laughing because we keep acting like we're not going to get the best shot of everybody. I mean, we're the two-time MEAC champions.
That's right. They definitely came out super feisty.
Oh my gosh!
One of the things I enjoy, not only is seeing it being broadcast consistently, shout out to ESPN Plus, but I also like hearing the announcers and the analysts, talk about all of our traits, right? And so as they were kind of going through the things and talking about what Howard was capable of, it's almost as if Coppin State was listening to him, like, oh, okay, well, we'll show y'all a little something, kind of right out the gate, but we responded well to it also, I feel like,
I agree. I think that it sounded like somebody was listening to some pregame information and
Right.
whatever bulletin board information they had. We
They
didn't
might
give
have been
them enough.
listening to Chip. They might have been listening to Chip.
Hey, shout out to Coppin State. If we inspired you to play your best ball, keep listening. Bison Brothers Basketball.com, baby. Let's go. But the idea is that for us, I think jumping out early, I think we may have still been riding a little bit of the high of the win on that Saturday. And what I loved about it was that, when we jump out early, like I told you, it seems like we have a lull. But when somebody jumps out on us, we kind of have to stay focused a lot more. Again, we were only down a couple of possessions, and all of a sudden we went on it was a 15-point run in the first half, and that really just opened it up because it's like we settled down and said, wait a minute, we're still Howard. And so your boy, Shockley Okeke is the one I thought Chip's been calling this guy's number since the preseason. And he did one of those moves where I'm like, oh, there he is. He's actually in the game. He's an integral part of the game right now. So
no question.
Shout out to Cameron and really showing up, especially when we needed him to do that. And I know Anwar came through again. So all the guys that are like new to the team, I think their identities are really kind of shaping in conference play. Right.
And I'm gonna go a little Brian, fasten your seatbelt here. I'm gonna go another Larry Bird reference here.
Okay.
The thing that I see the most with him is that, Larry Bird, you say everybody want the ball in the first 2-3 quarters. And then they run it from it when it's crunch time. He seems to shoot the same no matter what's going on in the game. And that's I think that's gonna bode well as the season progresses.
Yeah. And shout out to E for making sure there's a Larry Bird reference on almost every episode he appears on. French Lake will be proud of you, E. French Lake will be proud.
I'm trying to overcompensate for all the hate I gave him in the 80s.
Yeah, I love it. Chip, what were you gonna say, man?
I was gonna say it kind of blends into, and this is pre-show. E. Wash and I we had a disagreement about the Bowie game.
You were just wrong.
Wow.
And the prolific, I'm being petty here now, and the prolific 3-point shooter that is Cameron Shockley.
How about consistently petty?
Oh wow.
The prolific 3-point shooter that is Cameron Shockley, Okeke. And so E, I'll let you go and see what you saw in terms of what you didn't like about the Bowie State game. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Within the first 2 minutes, I was like, ooh, they are shooting way too many threes. And then Chip chimed in with, oh no, I'm okay with that. I was like, hey man, that's fool's gold. Now you can. I was about to go another horrible 80s reference and say, when you're messing with that snow.
Yeah, that's
you go up quickly and you come down just as quickly.
We're gonna podcast get a different rating. We don't get a rating for this show.
There was one play. There was one play that kicked off our disagreement. It was early on, and we had the advantage. It was a fast break, and Cameron Shockley Okeke had a full clear path to the basket, but he stopped and pulled up for a three.
He sure did.
And hit it.
Yes. And that's
in the flow.
That's usually where the problem starts.
So
yeah.
He thinks it was a bad shot. He thinks it was
again, it was a bad shot.
All right, so let me ask you this, E. If Steph Curry was running down and pulled up for that shot, would you have said it was a bad shot?
Yes. but he can make it clearly, right? But since we're invoking NBA greats and Jordan is a sponsor, what Mr. Jordan said about it, right? Mr. Jordan, when they asked him during the NBA Finals, as a matter of fact, they asked him after he hit 10, 11 threes, whatever it was, I think it was against Portland. It's like, well, since you were so hot, you plan on using that more? He said, oh, no, I'm paraphrasing here. that takes away from the rest of my game because next thing you do, no, all you're doing is floating out to the 3-point line, waiting for somebody to throw you the ball.
Okay.
So
Horrible.
It starts detracting from everything. It's long rebound.
So let me just make sure I get this straight.
So
you're saying that no matter what, it's a bad shot. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying when it's your primary offensive weapon of choice. You know, and most of the time when we're singing the hosannas of the team, we're talking about, hey, they're moving the ball around. Hey, they're working it inside first. You know, just even in football, you know, you kind of, well, not anymore, but you run to set up the pass, but that's gone now. You know, and so, you know, you're still talking about a shot where under 50% is the spectrum for it still being good, as opposed to a mid-range shot. You know, and I'll take it a step further. I don't know anybody on OKC's team. I know very few players on the Rockets team, but you know, I was watching a little bit of the game the other night, and the thing that I love the most that's good for basketball is that this man is an MVP candidate, right? He's a young player, right? And he has established himself not because he can make 3-pointers, but because he has a mid-range game and he forces the other team to react to him instead of the other way around.
Yeah. All right, so this would be my last little riff on this as to why I said it was a good shot.
You could just say, you know what, you're right.
Right.
I don't see that coming.
You won't.
No, there is something to it, but I think, so a couple of things. One, we had 11 turnovers in that first half, and I think that was the bigger story as to why. But I say that because I did note that there were definitely about at least 3 threes in that first half that I was like, okay, that was a bad shot. But but just like Ewash, to your point, you know, a couple of games before, you know, the announcers talked about how we don't rely on the 3.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Right. But so the only reason I brought up Steph Curry is because he's a career 42.5% 3-point shooter. Right. And wait. Right. And Cameron Shockley and Marcus Dockery shoot over 42 points. So they shoot a better percentage than Steph Curry. Right. So I only say that to say that they are very adept at the 3-point shot. And so for them, that's like a layup when they take that shot and they don't force it. So I wasn't mad at the shot. I reached out to the coach. I wanted to get his opinion because Eric seems to think that KB wouldn't have said that was a good shot. Well, he's going to answer that, I'm sure. So we'll get him to chime in and see later. But I don't think it was a bad shot because he's such a good 3-point shooter, better average than Steph Curry. I think it was the turnovers more than the prolific 3-point shooting that contributed.
What also happens when you start taking a lot of long jump shots? You got long rebounds.
You do.
You got people out of position all the time.
You do.
You know.
So fair point.
The game. You know.
So what's exciting is, and for those listening at home, you're with Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. You got to see some sibling discussions. It wasn't a fight. It was a discussion. And the reason it was a discussion is that I'm here to tell you, as the other brother in the podcast here, they're both wrong. They're both wrong.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying that other than that hat, man, I really respect what you got going on here, right? that Morehouse hat makes me question a few things on a Bison podcast. But here's the deal, you know, with the shooting, percentage-wise, it's a good shot if we can shoot. If we can't shoot, it's a bad shot. But if we can shoot, it's part of how we play. We actually can open the floor. We tend to shoot, you know, over 40% most nights, and that's good. That's great, actually, right? Chip, we we didn't have to shoot all of them, but at the same time, when we do it in the flow and we don't make it, we just got to make sure we're playing better defense, which you already said isn't our strongest suit right now. But when I look at the game, because we lost that game, we jumped past that. You see how we talked about all the wins, but we didn't talk about the loss. We lost that game. How many points did we lose by? Anybody remember?
I believe it was 3.
3 points. And guess what? We shot from the free throw line.
What was that?
We were like 60%.
Yeah.
From the free throw line. 63%. We missed, I don't know, 10 free throws. Now,
Yeah.
I've done some complicated math in my life because I have a degree that says I can do that. But when you miss 10 free throws and you lose by 3.
Yeah.
There's no hand in your face. There's no hand in your face. There's nobody jumping. You ain't that far away.
And it's only fifth right, which means it's a good shot because it's closer.
And we missed that. And we missed that.
Right.
So when I look at it, it was the missed free throws that really made the difference in the game because honestly, we missed shots so they could get back in the game. If we were just making our free throws, they'd still be out there trying to make.
Piggyback off of that. Were they shooting those free throws because they were shooting fadeaway jumpers when they got fouled, or were they in the lane when they got fouled, or mid range?
I submit to you, brother. It doesn't matter. They got fouled.
Oh.
What are you talking about? That's like saying you trying to make the argument of, hey man, what kind of cape did he wear when he was jumping down the fire escape?
No. Okay, well let me try to go at it another way.
Right? Did he save the girl or not? That's what I'm talking about.
Let me try to go at it another way for you. I'm gonna mention 3 players, right?
Okay.
You could keep 2, got to get rid of 1. All right. So Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, James Harden. Who you keeping? Who has to go?
Keeping 2. I'm keeping AI.
Somebody has to go.
I'm keeping AI and I'm keeping Kobe. Harden's got to go.
What about you, Brian?
Is it today or back in the 90s?
I'll let you decide.
So today, I'm letting AI go.
Okay.
So your the point that you are about to make,
and so the point is still. So I'm even more glad that I brought up the SGA analogy because he's not a prolific 3-point shooter, but he's the main cog on a championship team, right?
He is.
And so even in today's game, right, we're starting to see the emergence of, this mid-range thing. Even Anthony Edwards, at least last year, the reason he started becoming relevant is because he was mixing up his scoring. It was diversified. He wasn't just the 2 extremes, dunking and shooting 3-pointers. I don't know why he's not doing it this year, right? And he's giving a lot of pushback and stuff, but it's the same issue. But either way, the reason I would pick AI and Kobe, and the reason I'm honing in on AI because he was a horrible 3-point shooter. Matter of fact, he wasn't even a good shooter from the field.
He was not.
But how in the world can you take somebody that short and they be the centerpiece of a team that at least makes an NBA Finals run, which James Harden has never done? By the way, never. He's never been the central figure on a team making a deep playoff run. Never. Or at least a team that's made the finals. He's made the Western Finals. When he made the finals with OKC, he was a big man, and then he bounced. Because he wants to do what he wants to do. Yeah. But the point being is, even Kobe Bryant said this about him: that style will never work. And here we are, all these years later, and it still doesn't work, right? Because he's putting zero pressure on the defense because he ain't getting in the lane. He's not getting the other team in foul trouble. Whereas somebody like Allen Iverson, who, questionable shot selection, you know, arguing with the coach, all these other issues, but he stayed on that free throw line, right? And he was able to compensate for the lack of offensive firepower, if you will, on the rest of his team. And he's the smallest guy out there.
All right, I could bring this all back to our team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So Brian, I disagree with you in terms of it doesn't matter, because to Eric's point, we, those fouls, those, the even though we missed those free throws, we did get the fouls from trying to go inside. But our offense, that's part, like, it involves Blake putting foul, like just like Denzel did in training day when he was surrounded by all them people and he said, "I'm putting cases on all you."
Oh, y'all.
That's what Blake does when he gets in the game. He's like, "I'm putting fouls on all your forwards, all your big men." So that's still baked into the cake. And I think, just like the announcer said about us before, we don't rely on the 3-pointer. We're just good at it.
That's all I'm saying. Don't rely on it. And in the Bowie State game, I as you can attest, Chip, whether you agree with the rest of what I'm saying or not, I've started feeling that right away. Like, here they go. They coming out jacking threes. And to a team, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of across the board shorter than them anyway.
Yeah, they're tinier.
Now,
so why are you doing that?
And this is my final, really, to me, ultimately, in addition to the 11 turnovers, I think the basketball guys, like, we didn't play hard for the whole game.
We didn't.
And Bowie State played hard for the whole game. And so, yeah, like, the basketball guy, like, they deserved to win that because we didn't bring it for the whole game. And Brian, you always mention we 35 minutes we play good. 30 you got to bring it for 40 minutes. So
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Go ahead, E. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And again, I'm just talking about the tendencies. And I think you touched on this earlier, B. Even if you didn't make it this explicit, you just, in my mind, you just don't want to see them getting comfortable. If we already talking about, we struggling with inside presence defensively and offensively, right? When you start jacking those threes, you're reducing the effectiveness, rebounding of your big guys. You're giving a shorter team much more opportunity to get out on the break because it's going to be them long shots from taking all them threes all the time. I'm just saying, you are not playing to your strength. Just like when Chip talked about, and the only reason I did the little joke thing about Adrian Dantley, if you think about the Pistons before Adrian Dantley got there, they were basically a perimeter team.
They were.
Right? And then they bring a 6'5" guy in there to be their post player. So we're going to shout out Morgan Wooten one more time because
there you go.
He's a DMV guy.
He is. Yeah, he used to work out up at Howard back in the day.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
That's all I'm saying, man. Just I feel like I'm seeing it in the basketball world, meaning a change from analytics 3 to, hey man, move that ball around. Diversify the offense up a little bit, mix it up some, get an easier shot first. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I follow you, and I think that's it's well done. You all both were very compelling. I know the barbershop would be buzzing still about your litigated cases.
Especially for the guys that don't get a lot of playing time. If we're missing people now, right? We're missing people, which means we got to start working people in, Hema and some of these other people that don't get to play a lot. Why start making your offense, since we're already kind of doing it on the fly anyway, overly relying on something that's going to make him less effective anyway, if you're going to have to try to incorporate him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I will say this. Yeah. Shout out to, and this, I throw all of my bias here in because I want to see Calvin Robbins get more minutes. But I thought he's from Chicago, Kenwood High School, Calvin Robbins. Shout out.
Shout out.
But I thought, he got more minutes in this game. And to Eric's point, he posted up one time. He's stronger than he looks when he's in the paint. And so he's able to slow the game down. I think I could see the game slowing down for him in terms of KB's system. But there were a few possessions where his strength and being down low, being able to kind of set up in the paint, slow things down, make the right pass, and he kind of went up for, he was in the paint, went up for a shot, it made it. I thought it bodes well coming down the line. If KB can give him some more minutes, I think he's going to surprise coach and be more effective in the paint, a strong presence defensively and offensively. So shout out. I really want Calvin to get some more minutes. I think he's making the case. Coach,
making an appeal. It's a wonderful appeal.
Chicago product. Calvin was doing his thing. Give him some more minutes. He'll give you that inside presence you need. I think
this is exciting, man. This is why we do what we do. You guys are listening to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. You just witnessed and listened to probably some of the most in-depth and elite analysis from the couches that we sat on watching this game. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal that we haven't been called in to consult on the adjustments to the offensive schemes at Howard University. I just know Coach KB is probably trying to hold on to see when can I call these guys in for the ultimate consult. But you all make really good points, and I think this is what's fun because we're actually talking about Howard basketball, and the fact that we can even have this level of conversation means that the program is going in such a way where we know it's possible. Like we're not even just there used to be time where we did the one thing we did because that's the only thing we could do. And right. Now we're like, hey, we can shoot, we can go inside. Mm-hmm. I think that the part that's really cool is that every time somebody new gets some time and they grow, there's another wrinkle now that we can add to the mix. And so, we're getting into the thick of conference play. I know the Bowie State game, for me, the biggest disappointment was that, to your point, Chip, we didn't take them seriously. And I think that's the first time, won't be the last time, that's the first time I saw people trying to see if they could bully ball Blake. And, now that he's now the guy people are going after when they realize he's getting all these accolades. So I expect there to be some more people taking shots, cheap or otherwise, to see if they can get him off his game. He had a couple of moments where he could have been kicked out of the game because they were coming at him in a way that got him frustrated. So I am trying to see how he grows in this space here. It's not his talent. The boy can play. I just think that he's going to grow a lot with everybody coming for him now. He's not the new guy that nobody knows about anymore. So, that's probably the thing that Bowie State probably added to the wrinkle. So when we start playing more conference games here, we're going to see some folks coming for him because they're like, hey, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. Let's see if we can get him off his game early. He can't bust us for 35 if he's sitting on the bench for half the game. So that's some of the things I'm looking for as we go here. So we'll take a quick break and we'll see if we can get into some over and under reactions and then see if we can close this thing out today. You all have been phenomenal. Once again, this is the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. Let's see what we got here for us. So welcome back to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. This is your boy B Smooth. I got Chip Washington, and we got this Joker E Wash that can't realize he's on the wrong show. I think he's got another show after this to talk about Morehouse basketball. But we just got through talking about our recaps. We had a really good, early week. Both our men's and women's teams are still undefeated in conference play. That's great for seeding because, we're trying to get ready for what's going to go down in Norfolk at the end of the conference where we get to conference play. This is all about seeding for the conference. We want to have fewer games to try to make it back to the big dance. So we're off to a good start. We actually have had a stretch of games, and we'll have a stretch of games where we're playing a couple of non-conference games over the next couple of weeks, but we're in the thick of it. So now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is Over or under reactions? Over or under reactions? So who wants to kick us off with an over or under reaction?
We're gonna let Chip go first.
Ooh.
All right, so I'm loving that we're getting a lot more fan participation in the show. And I'm gonna attribute this overreaction to one of the fans, brother Eric Pipels, Howard alum.
Shout out Eric.
And give a shout out to Eric Pipels. And so while we were watching, I think it was the Morgan State game, and Tiana Walker hit her 3 for 3, he emphatically stated, "She's back." Yes. I was like, it's just one game. I'm happy.
Is she back though? Is she back?
I'm happy that she hit the 3 for 3. So Eric Pipels, with that overreaction, I'm gonna give you that overreaction. Tiana Walker, he was like, "She's back." I was like, "Yeah, we'll see," but I'm happy. So
Okay.
this segment, this overreaction segment is dedicated to one of our fans, Eric Pipels.
Eric Pipels.
With the Tiana Walker is back after one game, and she went 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
He's a true fan, Chip. I thought they broke the mold with the hyperbole that comes with your fandom, Chip, but he seems to have picked up a piece of that, and I love it. I love it. E, where you at, man? Over, under reaction?
Lord. So, B, first of all, once again, before I say anything, I want to tell you how much I appreciate the way you orchestrate the show, the way you set us up for everything. It's just
I'm here for us, brother. We have a good time.
The fact that both of us, you have a vantage point that most people don't have.
I feel a bus. A bus coming.
It's coming.
It is awesome, and it's greatly appreciated.
Let me get ready.
Yeah, here it comes.
And you also, based on your savvy, have elevated not only the program, but I'll even say the star of the show, Chip Washington, to heights heretofore unknown.
Wow, do tell, because he's shaking his head now, so he feels it coming.
So just kudos all the way around. For that. It's really awesome, And again, this segment is overreaction, underreaction, right?
Yeah.
So clearly, based on his talent and charisma, Chip is getting more popular, right?
Wow.
Right. So you cannot overreact to his level of popularity, and you cannot underreact to his ability to become Eddie King Jr. on the 5 Heartbeats.
See.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
He's really taking the different.
You have to use some of that discernment, B. Y'all gonna do this to me?
I'm beginning to believe that hat is a little too tight on you, bro. Your blood is just it's not flowing like it needs to, man. So I appreciate that. So your over under reaction is Chip, the host himself. That's the first time he turned the overreaction on the show. He turned it on the show. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Well, and I have an underreaction. If you want to, you want to get my underreaction.
I want to get you underreaction.
Okay. So my underreaction, which I even surprised myself, because you would think after losing to Bowie State, a Division II team, I was probably gonna come in here like the Tasmanian Devil with the overreaction. But I found myself saying, "Hey, every team faces adversity, right?" And so even though we lost to Division II Bowie State, the guys, I believe, have enough character that we got smacked in the mouth, right? We have some adversity, so it's not what happens, it's how you respond. Okay. And so I'm actually, I can't say I'm glad that we lost, but I think this is going to be a good thing that we lost to a very scrappy team. And so my underreaction is, hey, we're going to learn from this. We're going to grow.
Okay.
And it's going to be a moment that the fellas are going to come together and improve. So that's my underreaction.
All right.
I know everybody, hey, losing the Bowie.
Yeah.
So, okay, just some adversity.
It's way to do it. Yeah, you're that was very level-headed, brother. I think it was good that you went after the hyperbole of your brother telling you that your britches are getting too big. I guess I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So I'll chime in real quickly. I'm continuing a reaction that I shared in the previous show. I'm still all eyes are on Anwar Gill. I really need him to be in a double situation, assist and points, and maybe even flirting with a triple double because of his size. But I think that you all know that through the tournament, whether you shoot 3-pointers or not, you need a guard play that can allow you to kind of take over the game when you need to. And the formula for our last two runs to the NCAA tournament really ran through having some really special guard play that could get us where we needed to be. And so I think I'm still holding out that, if Anwar can get to the double-double status, he's flirting with it on certain occasions. But since we're playing teams multiple times, this is is a chance to figure out how he can do it. Right. So maybe not in the first game, but by the time we should see people again, he should be the one they have to kind of deal with. Yeah. And that's an underreaction, because I think that if he's in place to do that. So the overreaction is, I think, Chip, to your point, the overreaction is that I think that the defining moment of the season will be how the team collectively responds when people start coming after our number one guy. Mm-hmm. Because our identity, I think, is going to get sharpened by our response to the toughness question. Like, I'm not talking about fighting and going out in the back and, whipping up on anybody. That's not how I'm talking about it. But, when somebody comes at your best person, how do you respond?
Right.
And that's what's going to be the deal now, is that I saw glimpses of it. People jumped in and tried to see what's going, but that's a team that cares. They care about each other. And that's what's going to be championship medal right there. If we can figure out how to help Blake grow through the growing pains of people coming at him, and we right there with them, I feel good. I feel good about our trip to Norfolk, and I feel good about wherever they fly us to.
Okay.
Shout out to Eric Grant and the Mecca. Wherever the fudge, wherever the fudge they said is, we going. That's where we going. So Idaho, I don't know, wherever they got these sites that I can't pronounce, we're gonna go there. So, but yeah, that's my thing. So that's the underreaction. This is pretty cool, man. This has been a good show, man. We always fly through this. This is, maybe it's just because it's the end of the week, but I really appreciate the ability for us to get into some of these topics that are just on our mind. So, hey, man, anything else before we wrap up the show today?
Are we still going to do good for basketball?
We can talk about it. We can talk what you got.
Okay. Well, again, and all jokes aside, I want to extend some appreciation to both of you guys. One, obviously I missed the show last time, and people that watched the show, and this is really any endeavor, what goes on behind the scenes to make something come to fruition, unless you're kind of involved in it, you don't appreciate what it takes. And again, I'm gonna give both of you guys some kudos, man, for not only making this something, a vehicle of service, it's fun, and it's good for basketball, because you all have a next man up philosophy. You keep your eye on the prize and all those kind of things. And I think that it's kind of my segue into what's good for basketball, because you really don't know what's coming. And I wrote down a couple of notes of things while we were talking. Something that you can say about both of these coaches is they're willing to bring a surprise to the table. So in that game where he didn't play Dockery in the second half, you're like, what in the world, right? But you have to have some good esprit de corps. you have to have some good teamwork. You have to have some good feeling for your teammates. Because one of the things I wanted to ask you earlier be when the scoring wasn't being done by Destiny in that game, what was her demeanor like? You may not have the answer to that, but I would have been curious to know, how was she responding? She doesn't seem like somebody that would be pouting her way through that. But again, my point is, you kind of don't know what's coming. In the preseason, we were looking at a preseason MEAC Player of the Year. We had all of these, things in our head about, how it was going to go. And now here we are with all of these injuries. And on the women and the men's team, we have somebody that could be Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year. And on the men's team, somebody that could be Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year.
Player of the Year.
Who saw that coming? I didn't. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And so I think that that says something about the coaches. It says something about the players. And again, to bring it on home, it's really good for basketball to see people, contributing to a team effort instead of making it about themselves. So it's great to see that.
I love that, brother.
Once again, this kid is like a closer. He
is, man.
I
love that.
The Bernie Mac of the
Who you with?
I love me some Bernie though.
Yeah, man.
Good job. That was real good. Real good. Real good.
So Chip, we're right about this time, but before we close out, because we're starting to put something together, something kind of special. I know for the fans who like to offer their either solicited or unsolicited over or under reactions, I know you had a little message for them. Why don't we give them a little taste of what you want, and then they'll probably see a few things on our Instagram account coming up soon.
No doubt. So Bison Nation, we know y'all are just as enthused as we are when you're watching these games, and you have your own overreactions and underreactions when you're watching the game. Send us about a 30-second or less clip of your overreactions. You can send it to Bison Brothers Basketball at gmail.com, or you can send it through Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball, and we'll put your overreaction or underreaction in the segment, collage the segment. So send us your overreactions, your underreactions, be a part of the show, and we're looking forward to it.
All right.
I love it. Thank you, Chip. And again, we got people who are offering a lot of cool things out there. A lot of our listeners are sitting just like us on the edge of our seats and having really good reactions over or under to things that we're seeing. So we're looking forward to seeing some of your takes, because we want to add you to this show that's all about the fans of Howard basketball. Fantastic. All right, Chip, you know how we do. Let's wrap this thing up, man. See if we can get ready for the next set of games here.
No doubt. So with all this energy, Bison Nation, continue to share, like, subscribe to the podcast. You can get us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Spread the word, comment, let us know what you like, what you want to hear. And as always, keep donating to the Mecca Society. You can go to the meccasociety.org. And a shout out to the Mecca Society. We have an app now. You can go to the App Store, the Bison Fan app. So look that up. There's another way to support the program. You can go to the athletic department, hubison.com, donate to the athletic department, keep going to the game, support these championship teams, championship culture, Dream Factory. Let's make it happen. And you know how we do. What?
One more thing, fellas. I'm sorry.
One more thing. Get it on. Bring it on.
We want to send prayers to the Jimmy Carter family, to the Carter family. Jimmy Carter, in my opinion, one of our greatest presidents. And I just think that it's important to acknowledge people like that, and we got to see a little Howard on display. I was really impressed seeing VP Harris there, and the way she had dignity and grace during the ceremony. So it just made me kind of put me in that spirit to, say something about Jimmy Carter, because he definitely
contributed to our nation and is an example, you know, as a human being on all kind of levels. So I just want to make sure we shout him out as well.
That's nice, man.
And saying like we do, and on that, and we'll close it out with the you know what we do. HU.
You know.